Hi everybody, welcome back to the homestead. My name is Sarah, this is Kevin, and we decided today that we were going to do something fun, and we asked you guys through our YouTube community tab, through Facebook, and through Instagram if you guys have any questions for us so that we could just sit down and have kind of a casual conversation and answer some of your burning questions.
I know some channels will do this through a live stream, but because of where we live and the terrible internet service we have out here, live streams are not an option for us. So as of right now, this is the best way we can do it. To interact with you guys is to ask these questions and try to answer them for you.
So we're just gonna jump right in and start looking through some of the questions and things, and we have not rehearsed any of this, so
nope.
We hope that it all comes out okay. We're in the shower garden today, and just to be real candid, it rained, and I think that now my butt is completely wet.
Yeah, we put cushions on these seats to make them a little more comfortable, but that also means that we should probably remember to take them off when it rains, and we're just not good at that.
Yeah.
So.
You know, I skimmed through some of the questions earlier just to make sure people were actually asking us questions, and we're thankful for all of you who asked questions. And we had some kind of technical questions, some about family, some funny, some serious, so we're just going to try to address as many as we can and hope for the best, and hope that you guys just enjoy having some of this kind of extra information about us.
Right. So the first question that we picked to answer is, are our kids going to live the same lifestyle that we live as homesteaders, or are they planning on, you know, going to college and getting careers and kind of going the more traditional route? We don't know exactly yet. Both of our girls do want to go to college, and we will encourage them to go to college. Our oldest daughter, Grace, who is going to be a junior this year, just took her ACTs this summer.
For the very first time.
For the very first
She's
time.
16. And
she got a 29, which is a very good score on her ACTs. She's hoping to take them again and maybe even do better. She's already way smarter than I am, so I don't know how you could possibly do better, but she's hoping to do better. But she is also considering the Air National Guard as an opportunity after high school. So a lot of big decisions coming up quickly in her life.
Right. Grace is interested in becoming an English teacher, probably a high school English teacher, but also is very interested, like Kevin said, in the Air National Guard, not only to help pay for her college, but also to serve her country. And I really respect that. Grace is so brave. She'll get up in front of anybody to sing. She's not afraid to jump out of an airplane or anything like that. So I really respect that, and I think that she would do really well in the Air National Guard. Now Samantha, she is 12, and she is interested also in going to college to be a teacher, probably elementary school, I would say.
Right.
So at this point, that's what she's most interested in. Now, we have let both the girls know that we would really like for them to end up close enough by to still see them very often.
Right.
To be a part of their lives as grown-ups and to be a part of their grandchildren's lives. So we really hope that they do that.
Right.
And we're also hoping to continue, to some degree, the growing and raising of food for our family. And
right.
They would like to continue helping with that so that they can benefit in that. But we've also let them know that as we age, we won't be able to do all of that by ourselves, but we would love for them to come home and help us with harvesting, canning, butchering, preserving, those kinds of things,
right.
So that the whole family can still benefit from this lifestyle.
Right. Even though they maybe don't want to live it to the degree that we are now, they very much appreciate everything that we do. They've grown very accustomed to home-raised and homemade food. They really don't like eating out. They really don't like buying things at the store because they just weren't raised with those things. So yeah, we're hoping that at least, even if they go off for a while, maybe they'll come back to this lifestyle, or at least some of this lifestyle.
Right. We've heard from several of you about some technical things, like what camera do we use, what editing software do we use, and kind of how we got into YouTube and why we do YouTube. So we want to just address that because we don't really talk about equipment and things like that very often.
So the camera that we use now is a Canon M50 with a Rode video mic. It's a very nice setup. It'll probably be what we use for a very long time. It wasn't cheap, but it's definitely not, you know, you could spend a lot more, but I think it does a very good job for the types of videos that we do.
And for a long time, the editing software that we used was iMovie. We have a Mac computer, but we just recently switched over, and it's called
Final Cut Pro.
Final Cut Pro.
Right, and that's what we're using now. When we first started on YouTube, though, we started with just recording videos on an old iPhone that we had. Then we graduated to a camera that Sarah's dad gave us for free. Then we purchased our first camera, which was a Canon G7X, and then we now graduated to the camera that we have now. As you know, we don't like to spend money unless we have to, so we gradually moved up as we started to do a little bit better on YouTube. We bought nicer equipment, and hopefully now this camera will last us a very long time.
And in a nutshell, we started doing YouTube as a way to show our family what we were doing when we left the big city. It's kind of evolved since then. We started doing 5 videos a week for over 2 years. We did 5 videos every week. And then just recently, as you know, we've come down to 3 videos per week. But I really do think that that consistent schedule of 5 a week, every week on the same days, and now switching to 3 days a week on the same days, that consistency, we think really helped our progress and our subscriber growth and our views.
So the next question is, do we still have bees? And that's kind of a sore subject. This spring, as you know, for those of you who have been following us, last fall we got a beehive. We kind of got it unexpectedly because someone at church who had bees got stung, had an anaphylactic reaction, and so we got it kind of abruptly before we had time to learn a lot about it. So we got the beehive, we kept them alive all winter, they made it through the winter, they were doing great. We thought, great, you know, everything was going to be fine. Early this spring, they swarmed. We were working out in the garden actually, and we saw the swarm. We caught the swarm, and I was able to put it into a smaller, what they call a nuke box. And I thought everything was going to be great. And then about a week later, we were gone at the farmer's market, and they must have swarmed again because we came home from the market and all of the bees were gone. So we're not exactly sure what happened or what we did wrong, but I am going to be going to spend some time with my friend Ben down in Arkansas at VW Family Farm. If you watch their channel, he is a great beekeeper. He's going to teach me everything that I need to know, and hopefully we will try again with bees probably next summer.
We had a question about, is there something that you have tried and failed at and you would do again when you have more knowledge? And I think bees are exactly that. We would definitely want to do them again. We need a lot more information. We're excited about what we can learn from Ben and Andrea from VW Family Farm. And we will have bees again. Right.
Yeah, I thought I could learn what I needed to from a book, but I'm really a hands-on learner, so going down to spend some time with Ben will be a big help. I know he's going to be able to, you know, give me all the knowledge that I need.
We also had a question from the same person that just asked the one previous, and that's actually Jessica from Three Rivers Homestead. She has a really awesome Instagram account, guys, go check her out. She asked if there's anything that we've absolutely failed on that we will never do again, or if we had an experience on the homestead that we'll never do again. And we actually did a video about the animals that we would never do again. For sure, it would be cats on the homestead, guineas on the homestead, and geese on the homestead.
I would say top of that list would be guineas.
Yes.
I did not like the guineas. We thought, you know, people warned us and said, you know, they're so noisy, you're gonna hate them, and we thought, oh, those are just people who aren't used to a lot of noise.
We love animal noises.
Yeah, we don't mind the roosters, we don't mind any of that. It's not gonna be a problem. The guineas make a ton of noise all day and all night, and it was just too much for us. So
and the cats, we got 3 kittens from a friend and brought them home, and they were pretty scared at first, and so we thought it'd be a good idea to tame them up. Well, we tamed them up too much. They wanted to come in the house. They wanted to board the school bus with the kids. They would follow Kevin out to the woods to go hunting. They would try to dart in the house all the time. They would take off with the fish after we went fishing. It was just a nightmare.
Yeah.
So as much as we wanted rodent killers,
right,
cats didn't work out for us on Homestead.
So the next question is, how many canning jars do we own? I think I'll let Sarah answer this one.
Oh my gosh. You know, I'll be really honest with you that I'm a canning jar hoarder. I just have tons and tons of jars, and when I go to a garage sale or a rummage sale or a church sale and I see boxes of jars, I buy them, and I buy them all.
Right.
I think that since we've been here, I've had 4 or 5 giant hauls of jars, and
right.
we moved here with a ton of jars.
Right. Yeah.
So how many we have, I have no idea. We
right.
have so many jars.
Right. Probably 1,000 or more.
I have no idea.
Right.
We have so many
right.
jars.
A lot of them, you know, we've never used. I mean, they've been used. They're ones that we buy, but we just store them in our barn.
Right.
They're, you know, some of them are just going to be for emergencies, you know, but, you know, or, you know, as the kids get older, if we're doing a lot more canning to send home with the kids or for the grandkids, it'll be nice to have all of those. And so, you know, jars are expensive when you buy them in the regular store. So whenever we see a good deal on them, we pick them up whether we need them or not.
Well, I'm always afraid that I'm going to run out. Like, what if we have so many tomatoes? What if we find so many blackberries? What if we have a huge crop of sweet corn and green beans? And what if I run out? And what if we can all of the deer? And what if we can all of the chickens? We just need all the jars.
Right. What if suddenly everybody in the state of Missouri wants a canning jar? She has one for them.
No. No, there are jars now.
All right, so the next question is, how do we handle Japanese beetles here on the homestead? Because they've become a huge problem. I think this person said on the East Coast, but they're a big problem pretty much across the country now. They've really spread. So we actually did a video about this not long ago, so you can go watch that, but we'll give you kind of an overview here as well. So the first thing we do is we use the Japanese beetle traps, the pheromone traps, but we put them very far away from the plants that the Japanese beetles are attracted to. So our main problem here is on our orchard trees. Our orchard is kind of right in the middle of our property. So we use 2 Japanese beetle traps, and we put them 1 in each corner of our property, which is probably 300 yards or so from where the actual trees are.
Right, and we put the traps above a bucket of soapy water so that they go right through the trap and drown in the water, because we have so many of them that those little traps, they don't really hold that many beetles, and we could fill up one of those traps in 24 hours.
Right.
So Kevin puts a wire at the bottom, wires it open, and puts it just like an inch above a bucket of soapy water. They fall in there, die, and it works really well.
And you never have to empty them.
Right. So the second thing that we do is we use a neem oil and soap solution to spray a mist on the plants that we want to repel them away from.
Right.
The neem oil then is soaked into the leaves. So it doesn't just like hang on top of the plants, it soaks into the leaves, and it deters the bugs, not just beetles, but the bugs from eating it because it doesn't taste very good. So those are the 2 ways that we are combating the Japanese beetles, and so far for the past 2 years, it's done a good job.
Right.
Now, it hasn't kept every single Japanese beetle off of our orchard trees. There's still some bite marks here and there, but they're not completely defoliated like we have experienced in previous years.
Right. Yeah, it does. Overall, it does a good job. I would say it probably decreased them by about 90%.
Yeah, I would have said 75 to 90%.
Yeah.
The next question has to deal with time management. How do we get it all done? Do we have a daily schedule? Do we have a planner monthly? Like, how do we just get it all done?
Right.
There are lots of things that we do, but sometimes we feel like we're still not getting enough done. But in general, there are a lot of factors that play into our schedules.
Right. Our morning chores and our evening chores are always the same. Those are pretty much, they never change. We get up, we do our morning chores, you know, and then we go about our day. It's the stuff in the middle that we try to have a plan for. Typically, Sarah and I will, you know, talk the night before, or we'll kind of have a plan over the weekend. We'll kind of make a plan for the following week. But when you're living this life, you need to be flexible. Nothing ever just goes the way it's supposed to, you know, be. You know, you may be all ready to go out and pick in the garden and it starts to rain.
Yeah.
Or an animal escapes, or, I mean, there's just so many variables. You know, this past, I've been trying to work on that cow pasture area, putting in T-posts, and then we had a stretch where, I mean, it was, you know, almost 100 degrees, the actual temperature, over 100 degrees with the heat index, which, you know, and then here it's so humid that, I mean, I was only able to get done maybe a third of what I could have gotten done in nicer weather. So
a lot of it has to revolve around the weather and our schedule.
Right.
You know, we have days that we harvest for the farmers market. We have days that we film videos for YouTube, and in between there we try the best that we can to manage the projects that we have going on, the harvesting, canning, preserving, butchering, those kinds of things. So we don't have a hard and fast schedule.
Right.
We just do the best that we can. But throughout the year, you know, we have schedules that kind of rule over the year.
Right.
The months that we buy seeds or get seeds, we plant them and start them. We plant them in the garden, then we harvest, can.
Every year is basically the same when it comes to the big picture items. So it seems like every year there's like something that comes up that just throws off the schedule, and you have to be willing to roll with those punches. Actually, we just had something like that happen today. So we heat our house strictly with wood in the winter, and so far we have not been chopping enough of our own firewood. When we do chop down trees, we save as much firewood as we can, but it's not enough to get us through the entire winter. So there has been a company that we've bought firewood from for the last couple years, and, you know, we'll just call them, they'll deliver it, we'll stack it for winter, and we're ready to go. Well, we just found out today when I called them for this year's delivery that because of health problems, they've gone out of business, and they're not going to be able to supply us with firewood. Now, this puts us way behind the game on firewood. Luckily, I have a little bit left from last year. I have a couple cords left from last year, which will get us through a good part of the beginning of the winter. But basically, now, instead of getting back to work on the cow pasture area, I need to focus my attention on getting firewood for our family. If we don't have firewood, that's a big deal. We do have propane, and we do have a furnace in the house. We never even light the pilot light on the furnace because it costs so much to run, and it just goes through so much propane. So we need to get firewood. So I'm probably going to have to go and buy a log splitter within the next little while, even though it's an expense we weren't planning on. And there are some trees that we've known need to come down that we were going to wait probably until next year, and I'm going to have to start chopping those down yet this summer. So schedules change, things happen, and as much as it would be really nice to have a perfect schedule for every day and every week and every month and every year, it just doesn't work out, and we struggle with that just like all of you. The next question is, do we attend or speak at or travel to other festivals and conferences besides the Baker Creek Festival here in Mansfield, like the Mother Earth News Conference and those kinds of things? So the short answer to that question is no, we do not. We have been asked to travel to other conferences that are pretty far away from where we live, but because we're very committed to this lifestyle, we're committed to growing our own food, we're committed to, you know, being on the homestead as much as we can.
Caring for our own animals.
Right. We just have a lot of responsibility here, so we just cannot travel for anything that takes us away from home for more than I'd say not even overnight, but
Right.
like a day trip.
Right. We love speaking at Baker Creek in Mansfield area.
Which is about 45 minutes from us.
Right. And there is one conference in September that we will be going to. It's about a 2-hour drive for us, so we can go there after chores, come back before chores. And that is the Ozarks Homesteading Festival in Neosho, Missouri, near Joplin. We'll be speaking in the afternoon there. We'd love to join you. But I know it probably seems odd that you don't see us all over the place. Lots of homesteaders have the ability to travel and go to conferences.
Right.
You know, either they have people that can watch over their place, or they don't have the daily, milking and those kinds of things. But we intentionally chose this lifestyle. We chose to be where we're at. We chose to be in a place where we don't have relatives, and we're homebodies, and we need to stay here and take responsibilities for our homestead.
Right. Not to mention, in my old life as a salesperson, I did a lot of traveling, and I really like being at home.
Yeah.
I feel like I just miss way too much when I'm not here. So being at home is a good place to be. So the next question, which I thought was really a nice question, is about the dishes that we use and where did they come from? Because they thought that they were so pretty.
Yeah. The dishes that we use every day on the homestead, they were my grandma's dishes, and she got them as a wedding present in 1945. So every time we would make a trip from our house in Wisconsin down to her house in Iowa for Christmas or Thanksgiving or Easter dinner, we would eat on those dishes as a family. And when she passed away, I was in, it was right after we got married.
Right, and we were actually living in southern Texas.
Yeah. No one else in the family wanted her dishes, and so I was able to inherit those dishes from my grandma. I don't know much about them. I feel that they're absolutely beautiful, and I'm so happy to use them. I didn't want to just pack them up in a box and put them in a storage barn and never use them and never see them. So we use them every day to eat on the meals that we serve for our family. So it's really actually very special to me, and it means a lot that some of the ladies out there notice them and comment on how pretty they are, because they mean a lot to me. So the question that we're going to end on is about grocery shopping, and if we have any kind of guilty pleasure that we buy at the grocery store. Because you guys, I hope you know that we really don't buy much at the grocery store.
No.
We raise all of our own meat. We raise a lot of our own vegetables and that kind of thing, and for the most part, we really do without a lot of things on the homestead.
We usually just buy ingredients, if anything. So we buy like flour and sugar. We only grocery shop once every 6 weeks, and we don't even fill an entire cart when we go grocery shopping. Right.
We used to do once a month grocery shopping, and then we realized that at the end of that month we didn't really need to go yet, so we've stretched it out to every 6 weeks. And so the one guilty pleasure that I allow us to buy, and I know that we can make them at home, but it just seems faster and I really like to buy them, is tortillas. We buy flour tortillas, and because we like our Mexican food, we like our burritos, we like quesadillas, and so we buy burritos, or we buy tortillas.
Now I have a little bit of a confession that maybe Sarah doesn't even know about, but when I go to Walmart by myself sometimes, if you guys know what honey buns are, they're only 50 cents, and I know they're not good for you, but I tend to have a lot of those wrappers in my truck.
I was gonna say, it's not that much of a secret because you shove all the wrappers on the side of the door.
It's not like every day, but it's not even every time I go to Walmart.
I mean,
but those honey buns, there's something about them. They're pretty good.
I don't drive very often because we go everywhere together, but occasionally when I drive, I get like a sticky part of my leg because I'll shut the door and the sticky part of the wrapper will stick on my leg from the honey buns. So, sweetie, you're not really hiding much.
Oh, well. But that's my guilty pleasure.
So, you guys, we couldn't answer all the questions, but we had a good time. We loved to hear what your questions were, and we're glad that we got to sit down today and answer a few of them for you.
Right. And if you enjoyed this, let us know. We'll try to do more of these in the future. And, you know, we like to be able to share. We're not trying to keep any secrets from you guys. We like to share what's going on in our lives or things that we've learned. Or, you know, there's some things we just maybe sometimes don't think you guys are even interested in. And then we read these questions and we think, huh, they really do want to know about that.
Yeah. So thanks for stopping by today. Make sure if you're not subscribed yet, you hit the subscribe button and share our channel with people you know who you think might enjoy what we're doing here. And until next time, guys, thanks so much for stopping by the homestead. Take care, and God bless.
God bless.